Hello, my amazing tribe. I'm excited to connect with you through this video. Hello, fellow enthusiasts. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of Oleg Cassini. Oleg Cassini, 11 April 1913, 17 March 2006, was a fashion designer born to an aristocratic Russian family with maternal Italian ancestry. He came to the United States as a young man after starting as a designer in Rome, and quickly got work with Paramount Pictures. Cassini established his reputation by designing for films. He became particularly well known as a designer for Jacqueline Kennedy while she was First Lady of the United States. The Jackie look was to become highly influential and much admired. Among Cassini's inspirations were sports and Native American culture. Brace yourself for a captivating discussion on early life as we explore its nuances and implications. He was born in Paris as Oleg Alexandrovich Loisky, the elder son of Countess Margarita Cassini and her husband Count Alexander Loisky, a Russian diplomat, thereby obtaining the title of Count. His maternal grandfather Arthur Paul Nicholas Cassini, Marquis de Capuzzi di Bologna, Count Cassini, had been the Russian ambassador to the United States during the administrations of William McKinley and Theodore Roosevelt. Count Arthur Cassini signed the treaty ending the war between Japan and China. His mother's family claimed Italian astronomer Giovanni Domenico Cassini as an ancestor. In 1918, the Russian Revolution caused the Loisky family to flee for their lives, leaving behind their wealth, lands, and homes. As a young child, Oleg saw his cousin shot to death. The family reached Denmark and next moved to Switzerland. The Greek royal family invited them to Greece, but while traveling through Italy, revolution began in Greece as well. They got off the train in Florence, eventually settling there. In Italy, the children started using the surname of Cassini. In his early youth, Cassini suffered a major accident, almost losing his leg. He spent much of a year in bed in recovery, during which time he studied history and read extensively, including authors such as American James Fenimore Cooper. He developed a love of history and the mysticism of Native American tribes. He also discovered American culture through the movies from the United States that were shown in Italy. When he started school, Oleg had to learn Italian, but he already knew Russian, French, and Danish. His mother, Margarita Cassini, founded her fashion house in Florence, gaining American clients from people she knew in Washington, D.C., as the daughter of the Count Arthur Cassini. Cassini played soccer with the teenage team, the Boys of Fiorentina, and was on the university track and ski teams. He also played tennis for the Italian Junior Davis Cup team, becoming Italian junior champion. Get ready for a captivating exploration as we unravel the layers of education and their profound significance. Cassini studied political science at the University of Florence and became an accomplished equestrian. He studied fine art under painter Giorgio de Chirico at the Accademia di Belle Arti Firenze. Eventually he started in fashion, studying under the French couturier Jean Patou. Cassini won a number of international fashion competitions in Turin, including 5 first prizes in Mostra della Moda for sketches and most creative presentation for an evening dress painted in dramatic colors on silver foil, garnering a prize of 5,000 lira. Cassini opened his own boutique in Rome and designed for the local film industry as well as Roman society. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the fascinating world of move to the United States. Oleg became engaged to a debutante in Rome, Antonina Toplitz, and subsequently left for the United States after winning a duel. He sailed on the Saturnia and arrived in New York on Christmas Day 1936. His autobiography describes his possessions upon arrival in the U.S. as being limited to a tuxedo, 2 tennis rackets, a title, and talent. He briefly worked as a political cartoonist in Washington, D.C., upon his arrival prior to traveling to Hollywood. With that being said, let's now move on to Hollywood, California. Upon arriving in California, Cassini began playing tennis at the West Side Tennis Club. After he competed in and won a doubles tournament, His partner introduced himself as the head of Paramount Pictures, saying he was looking for another designer. Cassini went to the studio the next day and got the job as a full designer for Paramount Pictures. In 1941, his first film was I Wanted Wings, for which he created the look for its star, newcomer Veronica Lake. Cassini designed costumes for films including The Shanghai Gesture 1941, starring Gene Tierney, Tales of Manhattan 1942 for Rita Hayworth, The Razor's Edge 1946, It's a Joke, Son 1947, Born to Speed 1947, Lost Honeymoon 1947, The Ghost and Mrs. Muir 1947, That Wonderful Urge 1948, Whirlpool 1949, Night and the City 1950, Where the Sidewalk Ends 1950, as well as The Mating Season, Close to My Heart, On the Riviera All 1951, Rampage 1963, The Tammy Grimes Show 1966, The Daydreamer 1966, Peligro, Mujas and Axine 1967, The Ambushers 1967 for Dean Martin, SOS Conspiration Bikini 1967, The Sentinel 2006 for Kim Basinger, and Say It in Russian 2007 for Faye Dunaway. His designs are worn in the climactic scene of Meet Joe Black 1998 and throughout Ready or Not 2009. He worked for the major film studios and dressed numerous stars over the course of his career, including Audrey Hepburn, Shirley Temple, Anita Ekberg, Janet Leigh, Loretta Young, Rita Hayworth, Betty Grable, Joan Crawford, Marilyn Monroe, Natalie Wood, Ursula Andress, Jane Mansfield, Lana Turner, Sandra Dee, Susie Parker, Gina Lollobrigida, Renée Zellweger, Malin Ickerman, Kim Basinger, Carol Baker and Taylor Swift. As we embark on the next leg of our journey, let's unpack the layers of World War II and examine its core elements. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, Cassini quickly enlisted in the war effort. Initially, he joined the United States Coast Guard, but he later served in the U.S. Army as a cavalry officer. He reached the rank of first lieutenant. Cassini became a United States citizen in December or January 1942, losing his titles of nobility. He was commissioned as a first lieutenant at Fort Riley, Kansas. After serving 5 years in the U.S. Cavalry, Cassini moved to New York City in 1952 to open his own fashion house on 7th Avenue, the center of the fashion industry. In the upcoming section, we'll be shining a light on New York, New York. After the war, Cassini designed ready-to-wear dresses while continuing to design for television, motion pictures, and Broadway theater. According to his autobiography, Jack L. Warner offered Cassini the position of head of design for Warner Bros. Studios, proclaiming, "You're better than Errol Flynn." He remained in New York rather than work with Warner Brothers and opened his own designer brand. Cassini had enough money to launch one line, his first collection, which was received with rave reviews. The head of Lord & Taylor, Dorothy Shaver, provided the Oleg Cassini collection the entirety of the store's Fifth Avenue storefront windows to launch the collection. Cassini also took his designs on the road to his customers in trunk shows and special fashion events in order to promote the new lines. The in-store events evolved into the emerging medium of television, and Cassini displayed his product on Steve Allen, Jack Paar, Dinah Shore, Phil Donahue, and Good Morning America. The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson provided nightly recognition, as Carson had a line designed for him by Cassini, which he wore exclusively for the show. His reputation developed as a result of his genius for original, spontaneous design, and in 1953, shortly before her marriage to John Kennedy, Cassini met Jacqueline Bouvier, named by his brother, Society columnist Charlie Knickerbocker, as Queen Deb of the Year in 1947. With that being said, let's now move on to Secretary of Style to the White House. Cassini's appointment by Jacqueline Kennedy as her exclusive couturier in 1961 dubbed him her Secretary of Style and provided him a position of prestige. We are on the threshold of a new American elegance thanks to Mrs. Kennedy's beauty. naturalness, understatement, exposure and symbolism, Cassini said when his selection as the couturier to shape the entire look of the First Lady was announced. Utilizing the technique and high-fashion fabrics of French couture, Cassini's unique designs for Jacqueline Kennedy ushered in a new era of timeless simplicity based on clean lines and crisp forms and opulent and luxurious fabrics. Cassini brought American design to the world stage as the First Lady's identity became synonymous with sophistication and taste. The Jackie look that he created was copied by women all over the world. Cassini visualized her as an American queen, and Mrs. Kennedy acknowledged that Oleg dressed me for the part. The publicity Cassini derived from his work for Mrs. Kennedy led women from 18 to 80 to copy the look of simple, geometric dresses in sumptuous fabrics and pillbox hats with an elegant coiffure. Meticulously tailored and featuring oversized buttons and boxy jackets, as well as occasionally dramatic décolletage. Cassini designed a reported 300 outfits for the First Lady, including a much-copied coat made of leopard pelts and a Swiss double satin white gown decorated by a single cocarde which she wore to the inaugural gala ball in 1961. This was Mrs. Kennedy's first official appearance as First Lady-elect. The dress was subsequently named one of the 50 dresses that changed the world by the Design Museum in England. In 1961, Eugenia Shepherd announced in the New York Herald Tribune, according to Tobe's most recent coast-to-coast survey, the best-known name in American fashion is Oleg Cassini. In the following section, we'll be immersing ourselves in the captivating world of designer licensing. Cassini became known primarily for his licensing agreements. He was the recipient of a Doctorate of Fine Arts in 1989. His name adorned everything from luggage to nail polish, as well as special luxurious coupe versions of the 1974 and 1975 AMC Matador automobile. Outside, stripping, rub rails, wheel covers and a crest marked the Matador as Cassini's. He helped promote the car in Amos advertising. The special Oleg Cassini Matador was positioned in the popular and highly competitive personal luxury car market segment. The distinctive styling of the Cassini designer editions merit collector interest. Brace yourself for a captivating discussion on milestones as we explore its nuances and implications. In 1960, with his younger brother, society columnist Igor, Oleg opened Le Club in Manhattan, which becomes a leading private club with such members as Gianni Agnelli, Stavros Niarchos, Aristotle Onassis, and Ray Stark. In 1960, Oleg Cassini was named personal couturier by Mrs. Kennedy, launching the Jackie look in 1961. He was awarded the Chicago Gold Coast Award for Excellence in Design. In 1962, he was awarded the National Cystic Fibrosis Distinguished Service Citation. In 1967, he created deep tonal shirts for men, adding special colors where there had only been white. The sales of dress shirts rose dramatically, and the look was launched on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. Oleg created the Johnny Carson line of men's wear. In 1968, the Peacock Revolution is hailed by Newsweek, wherein Cassini is credited with leading a revolution in men's fashion worldwide. The Competitors Collection menswear campaign was also launched by Cassini. It featured icons of sport wearing Cassini, including Ted Turner for sailing, Bob Hope and Raymond Floyd for golf, Michael Jordan for basketball, Mario Andretti for racing, Gary Carter for baseball, Lynn Swann and Lawrence Taylor for football, and Charlton Heston, Regis Philbin, and Kenny Rogers for tennis. In 2003, the Council of Fashion Designers of America Board of Directors noted Cassini's extraordinary design achievements with their first ever Board of Directors special tribute. The presentation was made to Oleg by President Stan Herman and Diane von Furstenberg. In 2003, Cassini was crowned King of the Beaux Arts Ball. In this chapter, we'll be shedding light on sportsmen and its role in shaping our understanding. Oleg Cassini excelled at tennis and competed seriously since his early days as a ranked Italian Junior Davis Cup player. His skill at tennis led to a fortuitous design connection. Recounted in his autobiography, Newly Arrived in Hollywood, Cassini played tennis at the prestigious West Side Tennis Club, which led to a doubles game with the head of Paramount Pictures. Decades later, Cassini also created collections of printed and multicolored tennis wear, bringing color to the court. He is noted for having outfitted the U.S. Davis Cup team and for participating in celebrity pro-am tournaments such as the Allen King Tournament in Las Vegas. Cassini also participated and won the 5th annual RFK Pro Celebrity Tennis Tournament in 1976. The Silver Winners' Cup was presented to him personally by Jackie Kennedy Onassis. Cassini competed professionally in the sport of harness racing. In 1985 he earned a professional harness racer license and won races at the Meadowlands Raceway, Yonkers Raceway, Freehold Raceway, Monticello Raceway, and Roosevelt Raceway. He received awards in recognition of his efforts to support equine charities from HORSE and the Equine Society, which recognized Cassini with its Man of the Year award. He participated in golfing events, scoring 3 holes in 1 at the Deeple Golf Club and 1 hole in 1 at the Westhampton Golf Club. Cassini also participated in the ABC TV Superstars competition. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore humanitarian from a different angle. Oleg Cassini received the James Herriot Award, All Creatures Great and Small, as the Man of the Year from the Humane Society of the United States for his work and care for animals. He created collections of man-made fashion fur, the evolutionary furs. In 1999, he was awarded the Humanitarian Award at a fashion show and gala at the National Building Museum in Washington, D.C. Honorary chairpersons Eunice Shriver and Senator Ted Kennedy. Show hosted by Montel Williams. Among the 40 models were movie star Tippi Hedren. In his own words, what we're designing is as elegant and attractive as fur and eliminates the enormous cruelty that goes on in the killing of animals for fur. In his autobiography, Cassini claims to have suggested to President Kennedy that he take steps to organize the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the action which led to the American Indian Movement. Cassini was named an honorary member of the Chickasaw and Navajo Nations in 1981 due to his fundraising and organization of gala charity events for the tribes. Cassini and his brother, Igor, under the pen name of Society columnist Charlie Knickerbocker, threw the Knickerbocker charity balls to raise money for the tribes. Now, it's time to shift gears and explore books and television. An offer of best-selling books, In My Own Fashion, 1,000 Days of Magic, Dressing Jacqueline Kennedy for the White House, a book which is a tribute to Jacqueline Kennedy and reflects the Camelot era and the Jackie look, and Oleg Cassini, The Wedding Dress. Cassini appeared on hundreds of television shows worldwide in many languages and also hosted a special 13-part TV series, Conversations with Cassini, on the Arts and Entertainment Network. Now, let's shift our attention to personal life. On September 2, 1938, in Elkton, Maryland, Cassini became the husband of Mary Farney 1910–1974. The couple divorced in 1940. Cassini married actress Jean Tierney on June 2, 1941. Their daughter, Antoinette Doria, was born on 15 October 1943, blind, deaf and with severe brain damage. She died on 11 September 2010. The couple separated on 20 October 1946 and entered into a property settlement agreement on 10 November 1946, in which Cassini's 50% share of the marital estate was dedicated to the ongoing care of Doria. Tierney won an uncontested divorce in California on 13 March 1947. And the divorce would have been finalized 1 year later, on 13 March 1948. However, according to Cassini's diary, they reconciled some months before that. They announced that they were back together in April 1948. Gossip columnist Heather Hopper reported the news in the Los Angeles Times on 9 April 1948. Their second daughter, Christina Tina, was born on 19 November 1948 and died in 2015. They finally divorced in 1953. After his divorce from Jean Tierney, Cassini dated and was engaged to Grace Kelly. Susanna Moore claims that she was raped by Cassini. He and Tierney remained cordial until her 1991 death, when she bequeathed $1 to their daughter Doria and a residual to Christina. In 1971, Cassini married model Marianne Nestor. Beginning in 1971, Marianne operated the licensing and public relations portion of the brand, which they famously defended. Their marriage was kept secret until after his death. Marianne and his daughter Tina engaged in a bitter court battle over the estate. The status of that struggle was updated in an article in Vanity Fair in 2010. Christina died in 2015. A piece in Newsday, updated in September 2018, updated the history of the legal battle. At the time, Marianne was in jail for refusing to comply with a court order. Cassini's estate was auctioned by Doyle in June 2019. With our foundation established, it's time to explore death and its relevance to our overarching theme. Oleg Cassini died from complications of an aneurysm in Manhasset, New York, in 2006 at age 92. He is survived by his wife, Marianne. I love interacting with my viewers, so leave me a comment and I'll do my best to respond.